The skies above are clear. So let's tell the world about it now. Happy days, happy nights, happy days are here again. Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning in the show tonight. My guest this evening is Bob Matthews. He's running for Miami Township Trustee. Thanks so much for being on the program tonight.
Hey, William, thank you for having me. It's a great opportunity to be here. Thank you, sir.
We welcome you. So tell us a little bit about your background and how it will relate to the trustee position there.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I have a bachelor's in electrical engineering, a master's in computer science, and I lived in the Dayton area for 50 years, but I've lived in Miami Township for 20 years, so I know it pretty well. And
okay.
Still married to my first wife with 2 children and 3
That's
grandchildren.
good.
Yeah, yeah. No alimony there needed. So. And I've worked in many Dayton companies. I came here to work for the University of Dayton. I worked for NCR, General Motors, Dayton Power Light, and some other small companies. And currently I'm working as an employee at a Life Enrichment Center on Finley Street. And there we meet the needs of homeless and those who are struggling from addiction recovery. But I've worked 20 years in inner city churches, and led music and helped with the computers and the sound and taught Bible classes for all ages.
Wonderful. You said one thing in your above there about working with inner city churches, because I think what's missing today in leadership is servant leadership, just serving the people. I think that sort of have gotten lost.
Right. And especially, with inner city, you don't get the recognition, but you're there to serve God, and so He's watching. But the needs of the people are greater, and I really like that type of ministry work. So it's a big part of it.
The quality of life of the people.
Yes, big impact. In fact, we had some training this morning at Life Enrichment Center. We're talking about when people have events in their childhood, how dramatically that impacts them later in life. But they said that if one person could come along, stand beside those people, that would really make a huge difference in how they deal with the trauma they experience as a youth.
It's very important to have people in your life to inspire you, guide you, direct you, and so on and so forth. And I think that's a part of leadership, too. I really do. So tell me, why are you running for Miami Township?
Okay, well, I have many years of business experience, especially in the areas of information technology, project management, and financial applications. And I have experience in government systems. I've done systems for Fairborn, New Lebanon, City of Dayton, and Montgomery County. I also served as a Miami Township trustee from 2014 to 2017. I'd like to finish the good work that I started there.
Okay, so you have been in the position before, so you have great insight into the role of the trustee.
Yes, I do. And then while I was there, we resolved several major issues left over by the previous trustees. Some difficult situations they set up for us. We were able to resolve those, and using my business experience and negotiating skills, we were able to do that.
Didn't you play a role in the development of the Austin Landing?
I did. Well, we didn't. Austin Landing was started before I came, but the major part of the work was done during my watch there. In fact, we oversaw over $190 million of development in the township. Austin Landing was big part of that, but there were Kroger and other companies, and we held some planning meetings because so much was going on there in the township. We had lots of planning meetings to see what the citizens wanted and try to meet their needs.
So the citizens at that time had a big input into the whole development.
Yes, we did, because we were developing multiple plans. So we held 3 meetings. We held them around in different areas of the township, so that in each different area could get a representation. We held them in the evening so people that had been working could get to them, and we did what's called a SWOT analysis, where we look at the situation, the strengths and weaknesses, and the opportunities, and look at what we could do for the township. And so we did a very thorough, very systematic approach to finding out what was important to the people there. And that's why now I'm kind of emphasizing parks, pavement, and police in my campaign this time.
So that is what you want to expand upon.
Yeah,
in this term.
Yes, that's true. That's what we're going to keep working in those areas.
Okay. There's more to come on the William Pace Show. Stay with us. The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light to the Miami Valley and beyond, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, German Village, Showboat Majestic Theatre, Ohio Village, and Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars and entertainers like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, and Mr. T have appeared on the William Pace Show. Tune in the William Pace Show on CATV. Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. My guest is Bob Matthews. He's running for Miami Township Trustee. Thanks for being on the program tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you know, folks, we all have critics, and I understand that you have just a few. What are your critics saying?
Right now, one of my opponents says that I'm a professional politician. Well, I am a professional, but not a professional politician. So I have 40 years of work experience before I was elected as a trustee the first time. So, and I've only been elected this is the only elected position I've held as a trustee. So if I'm a professional politician, then I'd have to say he is the same also. In addition to that, he's a lobbyist, and on his LinkedIn website, for his first most important interest, he puts politics. So I think this is an example of the pot calling the kettle black here. But I have real world work experience, plus some government experience, so I can bring good business practices to government, and that's why I like to think I'm a really great candidate to go for this person to be in there.
I think that it's important, for politicians today to really focus. There's so much mudslinging back and forth, and we really need to concentrate on what the people, the constituents, what they really are wanting in their community and wanting to get accomplished. And sometimes their voices get lost in the mix of it. And so I think listening to your constituents are so very important. And also I think having a vision too, for the community and that you represent as well. Do you think the people that are in office now at Miami Township, that they're listening and to the constituents, to the people, and where do you think they may have gone wrong?
Well, a couple things. They have made a few claims that are not accurate. For example, they've proposed a community project fund and said that there isn't any such thing out there. In actuality, there is a fund called the Community Foundation of Miami Township, which was started in 1998. So they also claim to have created the first ever master plan for Miami Township. As I mentioned before, we held multiple meetings and had that, and then me and my fellow trustees completed the Dayton Mall Master Plan in 2014, and then soon after that we created the Miami Crossing Master Plan in 2016. So you know, they're saying these things didn't exist, but because if they didn't create it, they think it didn't exist. But actually it did. In contrast, I like to build on the foundation of the work that's gone before. My previous trustees have all done a lot of good work, and I like to do that. Another couple things they've done wrong is roads. One of the trustees was elected on the premise that he would come up with new ways to fund the repair of the residential roads and resurfacing. And if you look at his website, you can see where he's fixed some potholes. So now we've got a lot of roads with potholes fixed, but what we really need is resurfacing. And when I was there, we put together a resurfacing plan, which we still needed to work on the funding to get it implemented. But we did have a plan, a long-range plan for our roads, and really put that together. Another area that I'm a little disappointed in what they've done is parks. You know, they're working on a plan right now, our current trustees are working on a plan for $500,000 to be spent on one park, and that's in the backyard almost of one of the trustees. So rather than fix his property value, I'd rather see us take that type of money and spread it over all the parks so that all the people that live in the township have access to better parks, not just those in a particular area. Well, yeah, quantity too.
And quantity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not build up just one. Let's hit them all, because there are a lot of nice parks there. Yeah.
And do you foresee more businesses coming into Miami Township?
Well, I hope so. One of the things that's kind of fallen off is the development. You know, the development that we did, $190 million of it, was quite a bit. But yeah, since then, it's dropped off dramatically. And there are a lot of areas that need more improvement in the business side, and development. So we could work on that.
Are you trying to appeal to certain merchants, maybe as compared to certain products, certain merchants, or you just want more expansion among the business community?
No, we're not focusing on a particular industry. In fact, I don't think we should do that. I think the residents would need as much variety as possible. So we want to help all businesses, both big and small. And sometimes there's a tendency to give a lot of money to a large business that's coming into the area or developing, but you really need to help out all the small businesses too. But the Dayton Mall, for example, is really suffering, and it's had 2 anchors who have filed for bankruptcy, and Dayton Mall is a big source of revenue for the township. So looking at the mall as a whole, I know it's big, but there are individual businesses there, and there's a lot of businesses surrounding the mall that are dependent on people coming to the mall too for traffic.
That is really important, because many of the small merchants like to be where there's a big anchor of traffic.
Yes.
And so, because one thing sort of piggybacks off the next. If they're going to go to lunch, they can go to maybe the jewelers. They could go to several places, and so that seemed to one thing helps the other thing. Right.
And people come to shop, or they come to shop for a car, and there's and while they're there are tons of good places to eat in the around the Dayton Mall and Miami Crossing area, other areas of Miami Township up and down 741. There's lots of places to eat. Of course, Austin Landing's got lots of good places to eat. They may go to Austin Landing to shop and then eat there too, or they may go to eat and then shop there too. So yeah, you want to have a good interaction, a good mix of those types of things.
How much business or traffic or life or energy has Austin Landing brought into Miami Township?
Well, it's quite a bit. If you try to go down the road there to get on the ramp to the interstate, there's always about a 5-minute delay. So that whole area has brought a lot of life to that. And of course, the idea of Austin Landing was something the township did really well, because they put out the money. We borrowed $20 million to build the exit there off I-75, and that opened up that whole area to development. Now, individual companies can't build an interstate exchange, but the township can. But then the buildings themselves were developed by private industry. So the township did what it could do which is set up the infrastructure, the transportation, to attract that business. But then we left the development to the private industry who knew how best to develop it. So I think that's what government should do. Government should set up a situation that favors business, but should not pick winners
encourages
and
it, and
yes,
so forth.
Yes. And of course, the reason we want business is business means jobs. Jobs means income for the people that live there. You know, from COVID, it's a lot nicer not to have to go to work, but if you do have to go, it's nice if it's close by. So the more we can develop business opportunities, the more jobs we have there for the residents. And so I'm disappointed that the current trustees haven't been pursuing that as strongly as we did when I was there as trustee before.
Because a strong commerce means a strong community.
Yes.
And, that's really important, and because people want to stay where there are amenities. And
Austin Landing builds a community beyond just the commerce. There are, there's a very beautiful park there. There are facilities for the bikes to come. There's a little shelter area where you can go with your bike and do repairs on it if you need to. We have big events there, like at Christmas, and there's a Friday, I think once a month they have a Friday event there at Austin Landing. And of course with COVID, outside opportunities are great. Such a beautiful setting, lots of parking, big parking garage, theaters and stuff like that. So lots of things to do there for entertainment that attract crowds.
There's more to come on the William Pace Show. Stay with us.
The William Pace Show on CATV.
Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. My guest is Bob Matthews. He's running for Miami Township trustee. Thank you for being here on the program.
Thank you, William.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about your plans for the township after you take office.
Okay, sure. Well, of course, there's a lot of work to do, but my emphasis will be on parks, pavement, and police. And parks, I think I've already mentioned, we're going to try to make sure all the parks are supported and that all of them are supported equally. Pavement, we're going to come up with a way to make sure the roads are paved, not just pothole filled, and because it's so important that the roads look good. If you want your house value to continue to go up, you need to have the roads good, because when people come in to look at your house, when you want to sell it, the first thing they notice is the roads. So if they're not kept up, so we need to figure out a way to do that. And then police, and I know there's a lot of emphasis lately on defund the police. I am a strong supporter of the police. In fact, when I went in before, the first thing me and the other trustees did was add 2 new policemen, which was 10% increase in the police force. Okay. And I went over to the police office there, and I actually had a policeman hug me because he was so happy with how we were doing, and we really strengthened the police a lot when I was there. But there are some other things too that are important underlying. You've got to make sure we reduce our debt. We don't want to, be like a big credit card thing. Just use it like always charging up stuff we can't afford to pay for. We need to be responsible in our debt and put ourselves on a strong financial footing. I know the trustees that were there refinanced the loan we did for Austin Landing, but unfortunately when they refinanced it, they kept the same term, they just reduced their payment. A smarter approach is if you can already afford the payment, keep the payment the same, shorten the term, you end up saving a ton of interest. So those kinds of decisions could be made. There's a lot of unused land in the township, and so as a result, it's just sitting there, not helping anybody. We need to figure out a way to convert that to some sort of usable business or something that generates revenue, and also if businesses develop there, that creates more tax base for the township, so it helps us financially.
So you would take sort of like a survey on this vacant land, maybe from the people that live in Miami Township, and try to find out what they would want there.
That's one thing we could do. We could also call, there are land development experts, consultants we could get, we've used in the past to help us figure out how to develop that land. Sometimes I know our current trustees are talking about maybe selling that land, but that just generates short-term revenue. We need strategic thinking. That's one of my big concerns here. is that so many of the trustees are like they're just maintaining status quo and managing the operations, but they're not out there thinking long-term strategic
how
planning.
To grow the township.
You got to think about the future, not just cash in the bank now.
Right.
So I would be sure that the land was used for something that would generate long-term revenue for us and not create problems. I would also work
revenue as well as fulfilling the needs in the community.
Yes. And speaking of community, I would try to continue to strengthen our working relationship with Miamisburg, which I feel like has deteriorated, because when I was there, we had frequent meetings with Miamisburg, joint sessions with them on different things. And because they're part of the township, and because we share services such as fire, we need to come up with ways to make sure that we have a good, strong working relationship, and not just a relationship that's amicable, but one where we actually strengthen each other and encourage each other to do more and better things. You don't see any of that now.
So you would be working with Miamisburg as well?
Yes, as we did in the past. We had close working relationship with the past. I don't see that anymore with our current trustees.
And in the end, do you have any particular final comments that you would want the viewers or the citizens of Miami Township to know?
Yeah, I'd like to say the current trustees aren't horrible. They're just not really good. Trustees are supposed to be more than just operations managers. We need excellence. We need strategic planning. And let me tell you, William, about the difference between a manager and a leader. The workers are trying to hack their way through the jungle. The manager organizes them into shifts, make sure they have sharp machetes, make sure they have food and drink, and figure out who's in front and who's on back, schedules rest times. That's what the manager does, and that's what our trustees are doing now. But the leader climbs the ladder and says, "Wrong jungle." And he gets people headed into the right direction to do something that's strategically important. That's the kind of leadership I can bring to Miami Township, as opposed to what we have now. So if you want honest, efficient, and intelligent government, vote for me, Bob Matthews, for Miami Township Trustee on November 2nd. And my website is www.bob4t.com.
Well, thank you so much for being on the program tonight. And we have a little gift certificate for you to Mahaffey's Pies.
Okay, great.
It's Dayton's best.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
thanks for being here. There's more to come on The William Pace Show. Stay with us.
The William Pace Show on CATV.
For all we know, we may never meet again. Before you go, make this moment sweet again. We won't say good night until the very last minute. I'll hold up my hands, and my heart will be in it. For all we know, this may just be a dream. We come and we go like a ripple on the stream. So love me tonight. Tomorrow was made for some. Tomorrow may never come, for all we know. So love me tonight. Tomorrow was made for some. Tomorrow may never come, for all we know. There's no telling